So I'll start with this slide, and it's about how easy it is to become rich. And most people think that being rich is a very difficult thing. And it's not. And I used to eat my nails a long time ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I found out that I could control my nail eating addiction if I wouldn't have loose ends. Now, anyone eats their nails here? I'm sure that we have so you guys should know this. So we can control the addiction if we don't have loose ends. And so I started to visit my manicure, a very intelligent woman called Bella. And because I teach, well, I don't teach. I talk to students. I have not much to teach. But she asked, in your classroom, do you teach how to become rich? I said, well, but, Bella, becoming rich is the easiest thing in the world. And she said, well, yeah, can you elaborate on that? Yeah. So step one, you have to work more. So instead of one shift from 9 to 5, you go back home at 5, you shower your son, you put him to bed, and you do a second shift between 6 and 11 in a Moreiras or whatever. So you double in income, you start your savings, you invest in the stock market, and there you go. You're on the way to becoming rich. And she said what most people would say, and it is, well, I don't want to be rich by working very much. Because, isn't there any other way to become rich? I said, well, yeah, actually there is, Well, you can take some risks. You have a mortgage on your house, so why don't you get a second mortgage? A second loan. And with that loan, you can open your own store. And then because you're very competent, and because you're a very good manicure, then you open the second store, the third store, the fourth store. You enlarge the chain, you do an IPO, and you become a millionaire. And she said, are you crazy? I'm not taking any risks. What about my son and my husband? I will not do that. I'm sure that you have another way because you're a very creative teacher. I said, yeah, well, what about going back to school? Already? Jesus. What about going back to school? What about learning a little more about uniology, right? Nailology, about the thickness of nails, about new techniques of design? Why don't you go to the L'Oreal School of Nail Design? Do some group works, presentations, seminars. I said, what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going back to school, doing those learning and having to present my work to teachers. Isn't there any other way? I said, I don't want to offend you, but yeah, there is another way. You can never offend me. Well, how much do you charge to fix nails to your customers, to your male customers? And she said, well, €9. I said, okay. So instead of 9, you'll charge 9 plus 50. And you give your male customers a nice oral job, a blow job in the back of the hair of the saloon. And she said, what? I'm a married woman. I have values. I'll never do that. I'm not going to do blow jobs to my customers just to become rich. And that's it. Well, I could leave now. I have nothing else to tell you. That's it. People are not rich because they do not want to become rich. Because they do not want to work more, because they do not want to learn, because they do not want to risk, and because they do not want to commit to their value system. But in any case, many people and many students say, okay, I believe this, but can you give me like a nice practical clue? Can you give me like hints if I really want to become rich? And so all the rest is very obvious, and the basic message is here. But anyway, so one of the things you have to do is you need to fix a target for your life, to define a target, and most people do not do this. So you need to think a little bit on the places where you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years, the things you want to be doing, who you want to be. You want to be a famous rock star? Do you want to be a Nobel Prize? Do you want to be an European championship? Do you want to be a millionaire? Do you want to be the best student in your university? What are the things you want to have? A nice penthouse in New York? Do you want to have a group of companies? Do you want to live modestly and being a university teacher? And you want to be with whom? With a large family, on your own, you like to keep your independence, and you need to fix a plan. If you don't have a plan, you'll always be right. Because it's like a boat without no sails. To whatever port you arrive, because you have no destination, everything will be, yeah, cool, dude, fish meal. And most people do not have plans. And there's one reason for that. We don't want to commit with objectives, with purposes. And if you don't have objectives, you can't fail. And we are all afraid to fail.